All right.
Hey, guys, I had a problem with my internet. I had to get the internet going here. What's going on?
I thought you were landing some NIL 5-star, 6'20" center.
Guys, we're close. I told you when I took over, we would get some players. We're a +10 improvement, and we play this Sunday against the Texas team. So we are fired up.
Yep. I saw you went from last year, which was the first year, to what you've done, and had above 500, and you're still playing coming up this weekend. All right. So what would you say? Paul Catalina is here with me, David Smoke, and that's our great friend, by the way, Coach Gallagher at Manhattan. What was your thought about when it came down to at-large teams? North Carolina, West Virginia, Texas, and even others about – obviously, West Virginia was left out.
So the problem is in past that if you're hurt, they have to base it off of that. I mean, the argument about Carolina being 1-12, I understand it. But it's a hard argument because it goes back to the Kenyon Martin days at Cincinnati. I mean, that's how far back these injured. I wouldn't want to be on that committee. And then I'm just telling you guys, this is an NCAA tournament that anybody can win. So if you're in the position that they are in, do you take a Carolina team that's 1-12, or do you take a West Virginia team that best player is not going to play?
But
it's a hard one.
But they did win 13 of 23 with him gone, with DeFreeze gone. And then don't you have to win games instead of 1-12? Don't you eventually need to win games?
That's where you're right. And I feel the argument like Porter, I was living and dying by every Oklahoma game.
Oh, yeah.
And the issue is Porter had if he didn't have the Louisville win, the Arizona win, and the Michigan win, I was going to be worried. So, I mean, look, the SEC this year, from a basketball standpoint, is just absolutely incredible.
So, St. John's, very well could have been a 1 seed based on what they've done. I mean, that you just kind of run up against this year with Florida and Auburn and Duke and Houston. But you're in Manhattan. What that program means to the city is meant to the city. What basketball means to that city. How huge of a deal is this for them to be back where they used to be?
The city is electrified. Basketball's just electric in this town. I give Coach Pitino an unbelievable amount of credit. Look, they're going to win a national title here in the next 2-3 years. Their NIL will be #1 in the country. They're going to get players. I give him a ton of credit. I mean, what a swan! If this is his last job, what a swan song. So I give him a ton of credit. They're not going away. They are not going away. And look, the Garden's electric. I just give him so much credit.
Can he be intimidating? Are there many coaches in college basketball? Obviously John Thompson was intimidating. First of all, he was almost a 7-foot man, but I don't know about Majerus. Are there coaches that can be intimidating?
Yeah, I think there's always that, but they don't have a gun. I mean, like, we're talking basketball. Intimidating is walking into a bar with one guy and they got 10. That's intimidating.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't think intimidating is the right word. I think they just are so physical that they wear you down. Did you ever play somebody and you're like, I just want the game to end? What I try to tell my team is we have to be the team that we want the game to be 60 minutes, where they tell us, no mas, no more. That's what Coach Pitino does to you physically and mentally. Watching his teams, they just wear you down.
What are your feelings about Houston and the way that they've navigated through the year?
You spent hours selecting your patio sofa. Choosing that grill would have taken weeks. Probably your car needed way more time. For sure, you would have spent months mulling over that pool of yours. Protecting your prized possessions needs no time, though. Just visit coversandall.com, create a custom size per your requirements, pick a fabric, and personalize your cover. And leave the rest to us. Premium protection for all that you love.
I told my son this morning, he asked me, give me your top 2 picks. I said, Florida and Houston. Houston, to me, they do that to you. And the transfer from Oklahoma is the best player I thought he was the best player in the Big 12. And I just think Coach Sampson, I think he's due for a good run. I really do.
Auburn lost 3 of their last 4. They are talk about a team like Houston's. They're relentless. It's like you never get a breath. Alabama's the same way. Long, angular, athletic, and they put up a lot of points. But you mentioned Florida. And I know Paul didn't want to hear this as an FSU grad, but my God, they look really good. And they blew some people away. And they also have inside, John, size. They have bulk in size. What makes them so dangerous?
Florida?
Yeah.
Their offensive scheme. It's the best I've seen. He's an elite. I watched it this morning because I was just trying to figure out. So what they do to you is they're the best high major team I've seen in 15, 20 years at back cutting you. Offensive scheme-wise, they're elite. Elite. I mean, that coach is going to – the associate head coach that runs their offense is going to get the Columbia job here, it looks like, in the next 48 to 72 hours. The scheme's unbelievable. High-level scheme. High level. They run what I call misdirection to layups. So they're going to run you to over and, they're going to come at you and you think you're coming off a handoff and then they're just going to back cut you. So they run tons of misdirection for layups. If you're a high major team and you can get layups at the rim where no one's guarding you in your half-court offense, the head of Lipscomb, Lenny Acuff, used to give me a great line. He said, Coach, if you can get dunks in your half-court offense, you're running great stuff. Florida gets dunks in their half-court offense.
Coach Gallagher with us, Manhattan, 17-13 this year, and he joins us. He joined us back in 21. They were the first-round matchup, eventual national champion in Baylor. Should a conference, I understand earning their way, but 12 or 14 of 16 teams in one conference get in the tournament, 20 at-large berths from the Big Ten and the SEC. Are we getting away from places like Manhattan, George Mason, others that are what to me makes the tournament not able to get in the tournament unless they win the conference tournament?
We're one bid league now. Everyone's going to, Iona and Manhattan, I think it was, or we had, the MAC had 2 teams at one time. Atlantic 10 used to get 5. Those days are really gone. And look, you got to give the high major, you got to give the SEC some credit. You got to give Greg Sankey some credit because it was an all-football conference. Mm-hmm. And he basically said, let's go be great at basketball. Got to give him credit. He didn't care to go get the best coaches. Well, they invested in it. So you got to tip your hat to them.
Bruce Pearl, Nate Oates, Chris Beard, on and on and on. Plus then you add OU and Texas. Of course, Texas was rocky, and so was OU with Porter Moser. But, yeah, I mean, they did. They went out and just landed a bunch of dudes. And then if somebody that's your rival or somebody you have to beat gets a dude like in football, you got to go get a dude yourself. That's what they did.
Look at the pros in the conference. I mean, it's a high-level conference. You got to be really ready every night. I mean, look, Oklahoma had 3 quad 1 wins in their last 2 weeks. 3 quad 1 wins. I don't know if there's conferences that have the quad 1 opportunities.
Does that I mean, obviously, that means you've got to schedule harder, so that you can front load before you get to the conference. So how hard does that make it on the haves and have-nots when you have – I mean, part of the problem is they have 3 quad one wins because there's 16 teams in the conference. So you should have at least 5 that are quad one, right? When you have 16 teams in your league.
I can't agree with you more, but the issue is when you wake up and Pat Kelsey goes 18-2 in his last 20, and he doesn't have any quad one opportunities at Louisville. So at the end of the day, your leagues have to reinvent themselves. The ACC is going to have to figure it out. There was a time where the ACC was getting 8 or 9.
Was the Big East at any time better than the SEC is right now? Although not, well, they had a lot of teams.
Absolutely. Remember when the Big East was really they had tons of teams, and Syracuse was in it. Ben Howland was at Pitt. I mean, they were great.
John Gallagher, the head coach at Manhattan. They have Incarnate Word coming up, and I think we just lost. No, did we lose him? I think it froze up a little bit. There you go. You're playing Incarnate Word. Now, I want to get maybe 1 or 2 more questions. We appreciate it, John. Playing in this game against Incarnate Word, being able to play another game and maybe multiple games, how valuable is it for your program, especially in year 2 as you try to build?
Well, as you guys know, I walked into a burning building when I first got here. So
yeah.
Now, best what? I'm like the alums and me are best friends. So it's been a great 2-year run. I love it here. I'm going to stay here. I'm not looking to leave. You know, there were rumors out. I'm staying here. I love it here. But to play in the postseason, to like High Point last year was in the finals of this.
Yep.
There was like three or four teams that really propelled themselves forward after this. We have to be a team. Like I printed out already the first round sites for next year. And when we get down to practice in Florida, I'm going to hand everybody the sheet of where the first round is. I'm going to say, look, the season for next year starts now. And it also gives me a chance for guys thinking about going in for the NIL, to them to understand what this culture means, sort of what we did at Hartford, what we do here. And that's where you got to retain guys. We have to retain 4 or 5 guys, which we will do. But our new season starts now, and that's how I'm looking at it.
Was there somebody in particular, because when you were hired, there were some people who had their panties in a wad because they wanted this or that, and you did what you're going to do. You're going to win eventually. Was there somebody in particular that when they turned the corner with you or how they thought about you that you knew that things were going to get a lot better? Or was it just you went out there with hard work, got your hands dirty, and started winning games?
Last year, when I called the CEO of American Express, who's the chairman of our board, and I said, I need your help. He says, I got your back.
Oh.
And the band, the train started moving. I'll be frank with you. The train, and there was 2 guys, Steve Squeary, who's the CEO of American Express, and Pat Boyle and Freddie Morrow. You can name the guys. And our GM really got involved, Brendan O'Brien. And look, at the end of the day, there's so much energy around the program. And you just got to make it happen. I mean, you got to look, everyone's like, oh, where are you going to be next year? How are we going to be today? Let's go win today. And that's sort of how we got to take every day like it's our last.
John Gallagher, Manhattan basketball coach, with us on 365 Sports. Paul?
Coach, I just got to ask you, and this is really neither here nor there, but you are a Philly guy who's now had to move to New York, which is, I know difficult. Culturally, it's 2 different cities completely. It's not a long train ride if you want to go get a cheesesteak, right?
You know what's funny? This New York and Philly are the same. It's just one roots for the Giants and the other roots for the Eagles.
Hey, real quickly, I'm going to say a team in the Big 12. I know you got to go because you're doing your scouting and all that. I can see the marker in your hand.
That's it.
We mentioned Houston. How relentless and what Kelvin. Did you ever coach against him at all, at any time at all in your career?
When he was at Oklahoma, I was at LaSalle. Rasul Butler, he's become a good friend. When I got the Manhattan job, I saw him in the lobby, and he gave me some great words of encouragement. He's one of my favorite coaches of all time.
They are relentless.
I love them.
Oh,
I
God.
absolutely love his teams.
Arizona, Tommy Lloyd, pretty good.
Love him.
Did
I
not
love
win
him.
that game, but he's a young coach who I just got a feeling one day he's going to cut down the nets.
I think he'll win it in the next 5 years.
Okay. KU, most losses in the time that Bill Self has been at Kansas this year. They were just erratic, John.
They're going to be great next year. They're going to get rid of that big fella that's been in college for 20 years. Look, at the end of the day, Bill Self's an amazing coach. They're going to win a ton of games next year. I don't know about this year.
Dickinson's a good player, but when you have, I think that we need to get past a point where there's 6th-year guys, right?
We got to end it.
Yeah.
Listen, I've had them. Everyone's had them. Let's just move on from them. It bogs down college sports in general.
All right, Iowa State, explosive, but they've had to deal with injuries. You talked about that earlier with what they have with T.J. Olsenberger. Your thoughts about them?
Love TJ, best defensive coach, young defensive coach out there. They will early exit because they're scoring droughts.
Baylor has been up and down at times, but they just can't shoot it well, and they have no size inside.
Sweet 16 run. They're going to be a surprise team here. He can coach in March.
Oh, that would mean they beat Duke.
Well, that means they're going to have to start making some shots, too.
They're going to catch on fire here.
BYU, they had a great run to the end. Got blown out by Houston on Friday, but, man, has Kevin Young done a great job with the Cougars.
My old assistants, the assistant there, John Lenahan, they will make a deep run.
Last team, and my goodness, you talk about relentless. Grant McCaslin was on Scott Drew's staff.
Whew.
North Texas, and now at Tech. I love this team.
Final 4 team, baby. Let's go.
All right.
Oh, my God. We're going to start getting some donation money from Lubbock, Texas after that one. I think we already do with Kim.
Maybe Scottsdale, Arizona,
Yeah.
where Kim. Yeah.
Hey, John, thank you very much. We always appreciate it. And I notice you're wearing green. You notice I'm wearing green. Paul's wearing like strawberry.
I'm Italian, John.
Come on, man. The Irish.
Yeah, I know. Hey, we love you. Thanks for your time. We'll try to have you on if we can, but I hope that means you're keeping on winning, too. Good luck, John, this weekend, and have a great day.
Sláinte, guys.
Thank you. That's John Gallagher, Manhattan. Appreciate his time.